Well, hello there. My name is Shelly, and if you are new here, thank you so much for stopping by. I don't know how you found me, but I'm thrilled that you did. Today is kind of an inaugural first time using Sigma eyeshadow palettes. This is the Untamed palette. It's a relatively new release. I don't get anything in PR, so I had to wait for this to show up. I'm gonna do 3 looks of this one palette. I'm gonna share with you my impressions as the first time really not knowing anything about Sigma eyeshadows. We're gonna play around with some eyeshadows. I got a couple other new products that we're gonna use today. With that, let's get into the video. Back with mascara and a little bit of eyeliner. I also took one of the shadows, the one that I used kind of in my crease, and drug it a little bit underneath my eye just to kind of soften the look a little bit. This is my first time using any Sigma eyeshadow product at all. Like, I've never used a Sigma eyeshadow palette before. I now have a couple other ones to try. I also picked up the Enchanted one, and I picked up the whole Corta Rosa collection. I know these are not new, but I've seen so many people talk about this one over the last couple months, especially since they came up with this new Untamed palette. And I thought, you know what, if everybody else is talking about how great it is, the Corta Rosa seems to be like some people's go-to favorite Sigma palette of all time. Plus, I've seen some really good ones about the Enchanted one. So anyway, I got a little overzealous and bought all 3 palettes. My first experience with this, I can tell you right now, this palette is different than other ones that I've seen because it is textured with this velour embossing on it. The back does have the shades as well as the shade name. So I pretty much stayed with Instinct, Feral, Rebel, Spirit, and Docile, which are these ones right here. Pretty much stayed with that. The backs look different than how my eye read it when I looked at it. This one right here, Spirit, I think it's more of a topper, and I gotta be honest, I think it's probably better applied wet. I did notice that when I put it on my movable lid, my first thought was, oh, I wish I'd laid down another color first and put this on top of it. And then my second thought was, oh, now I've got glitter and sparkles all underneath my eyes. So not really the best first impression on that particular shade. I do like a couple things about this palette. One, the back folds back without breaking the spine. It does have a mirror on it. I do love that it has this matte kind of vanilla and a black in here. Those can really make a huge difference for me as far as wearability and versatility of an eyeshadow palette. I can use this black not only as a liner, but then also just to kind of smoke out a look to give it a little bit more depth if that's what I'm going for. And then this color here, I use this on my brow bone because I didn't want anything too shiny, but I wanted to clean it up a little bit. And I think this would also make a good kind of all over the lid shade before you go down with powder if you've got an eyelid primer that's a little bit tacky. Another thing I love about this palette that I'm super excited about is it pretty much breaks it down for you by an eye look. So like, to me, that's an eye look, that's an eye look, that's an eye look, and then you have your 2 base shades. I love that this doesn't cause me to have to think. You can bounce around and be a little bit more creative. I mean, if that's kind of your jam and you don't want to follow the rules, you want to color outside of the lines, by all means, I think this palette can give you that. But here on this channel, we're just ladies of a certain age who want to know, can we pick up a palette and is it going to work for a variety of looks, and is it going to be easy to use? Do you have to be a makeup artist, which we're not, but you have to be a makeup artist to be able to get some looks out of it. This particular eyeshadow combination, I did end up getting a soft, kind of rosier toned look. That's great. I don't see the differentiation between the different colors. And I don't know if that's because I over blended or if that's just the way the shadows are. They complemented each other. They blended well into each other, but maybe they blended in too well. Because now when I look at it, I'm like, well, could I have gotten that same look just with like 1 or 2 shadows as opposed to 4? My number 2 thought on this is it kind of took a little bit longer to blend than I expected. That could be because I didn't use an eyelid primer. I'm gonna go ahead and take this off and come back with a second look. I'll be right back. Back with mascara and eyeliner, which is always good to complete a look. I'm stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit because I think it's good to kind of experiment every now and then. If you've watched my videos before, especially any of my blue eye looks or blue eyeliner type looks, I really feel like blue, especially like a navy blue up against brown eyes, really makes the brown eyes pop. I guess we'll find out if I go look at this on a big screen and go, oh yeah, you're totally wrong. But I was reading recently, I was kind of doing some research on, you know, what color combinations work best with brown eyes, and a lot of them were saying purples. And I have kind of gone back and forth on purple eyeshadow. I'm like, well, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I feel like it makes your eyes look more red because it pulls out the red versus the blue, but anyway, so I started with this thinking this blue is so bold that no matter what I look, it's going to be a dark smoky look. And then as I was putting in these 3 colors, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I don't even have to do this. These seemed so light. Now this taupe called Loyal was a little patchy, a little hard to blend out. I did get a nice kind of eventual sort of softer look from it. This is very much a pastel lavender lilac type color. This one was the surprise. The color Fierce, I was very much surprised about once I got it on my lids because it is a much darker, plummier color. It does have that shimmer to it. I wouldn't call it a true duochrome, but it made a huge difference in the direction of this eye look. Once I got that on, I was like, okay, so it's not completely washed out. I do kind of like it. That encouraged me to put in the blue called Dauntless underneath, and this was super, super pigmented. A little went a long way. I just barely touched my brush into it, got it, and got enough to get pretty much both eyes, and then just buffed and buffed and buffed to kind of distribute a little bit. I did waterline a little bit with some eyeliner, kind of give it a little bit more attention. Is it a look that I would normally wear? No, it's not. Is it a look that I would leave the house in? Yeah, I think so. And that's kind of always the question. Are we gonna find a look that we can actually leave the house in? Not embarrass our family. So I am inspired to do one more look. I've got enough colors to do one more look. I'm gonna take this off. I'll be right back. right, guys, look number 3, final look on this Sigma Untamed palette. I had some surprises and some like expectations. The last look and this look, I did use the Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas Eyelid Primer Base, and thinking maybe the patchiness that I experienced in my first look would have been alleviated. I gotta tell you, I'm not a huge fan of the mattes in here. I felt like I eventually got them to blend out, but it took some work. So this to me is a palette that's, you know, great to play with based on the mattes alone. Great to play with if you've got the time to really make sure that you don't have the kind of weird, patchy, chunky, splotchy look with the mattes. That being said, this dark green in here called Camouflage, I was able to get a pretty saturated section of it right on the outside of my eye, and then it did really blend well in over the top of this sort of it looks mustard in the pan. It's called boho, and I knew in advance that this was not going to read yellow. I mean it looks mustard when you look at it, like a kind of a dark mustard, but I knew it wasn't going to because I saw someone else do a video with this, not any of these looks, but do a video with this and use this, and was pleasantly surprised. And to me, it's just kind of a baby poop brown color, but it worked and I really liked it, and that's one that I will absolutely use again. In fact, these shades right here that I used on this look, I would do this look again. This was the sleeper for me though. This shade Envy, I would come into this palette just for this color alone. It was exactly the color I needed. That, and along with this gold called Hustle. Man, this right here as a quad, I would take that all day, every day. This makes the palette work for me. These 4 shades right here. The rest of them are fine. It's a nice enough palette where you could do something with the greens and the burgundies. You could do something with the greens and the purples. You've got some nice, you know, neutral tones that you can use to sort of blend out as long as you're practicing your blending skills. And I think that this look actually does suit me. It's one that I would gravitate towards. I did not put on any other eyeliner. I literally, this look has mascara and that's it. So I'm thrilled with the way this look turned out. Is it enough of a reason to pay over $50 for a palette? I don't know. I don't know that I have the answer to that. I think it really depends on if the color story speaks to you. I would say not on quality alone, because I feel like I've had less expensive palettes from a few other brands that frankly perform better. As far as this palette goes, would I use it again? I would 100% use it for this eyeshadow combination alone. If I happen to have it with me on, say, a work trip, could I get work looks out of it? Sure. Could I get different looks out of it to go, you know, for a longer period of time? Yes. Is it going to become a palette that is my go-to every day? I don't think so. Sorry to be completely brutally 100% honest. This is one reason why we're not a professional makeup artist, and we're never going to get affiliated or sponsored or endorsed by anybody, including Sigma or anywhere else. Unless, you know, they're fine with ladies of a certain age that give them their honest opinion, because that's what I do, is I give you my honest opinion. If you've got the funds and you like the idea of it, okay. This is a new BH lip liner, and it is in the shade Nude. Go figure. I'm not normally one to overline my lips. It's just not something I normally do, but this lip liner encouraged me to do that, and I really like it. I'm gonna go in with ColourPop. Got a lippy sticks in the shade Cookie. Why not do the nudes? And I might as well tell you what else I have on my face right now. So I started off with the Ole Henriksen Banana Bright Face Primer, followed by the QMS Active Glow Tinted Day Cream. Then, because I was keeping things kind of light and effervescent, I picked up a couple of the e.l.f. BB creams. And of course, when you're ordering online, it's hard to know what shade. I did use the shade Nude today as just a BB cream, and I thought it was really nice, actually. I have nothing negative to say about this. I think it actually looks really good, and I don't know if the shiny skin is just because of the shinier products that I used underneath it. It's entirely possible. I did get in the last of the Bite blushes that I was looking for. This is the coconut one. I used the highlighter in this, but not actually the blush slash bronzer that's in there. For bronzer, I did use the Too Faced. This is the Chocolate Gold Soleil palette, and I just used it to contour. A little bit of bronzing, you know, but not a ton. Out of the garden variety collection, I also picked up the Aloe there that has Tearing Up My Heart as the blush, which I thought was just kind of a nice nudie slight pink, and it was very, very subtle. Again, I'm getting away from my abusive blush. And then I also, throughout the video, had the lip oil in here. This one's called Blossom Out, and it was very comfortable. I used that on my lips just to kind of nourish them a little bit while I was playing around with the rest of the makeup. The eyeliner that I used on my first 2 looks is from Milk Makeup. This is a bonus, which is kind of like a bronzy shade. Again, something that came recently in a BoxyCharm subscription, I believe. And then I used Thread Cosmetics on all of my looks, as well as the Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas eye base that I used for my last 2 looks. And I think that's everything. I am going to do a little bit of the Too Faced Born This Way powder just to kind of set things down a little bit. And I'm bouncing around between different brands here, and I apologize, you guys, but that's just sometimes what we do, right? Sometimes I do, you know, videos with all one brand. You guys are going to have to tell me if you have a preference between the, you know, brands that I'm currently trying out or full faces of the single brand. Which one do you like better? That took just enough of that shine out where I still feel like I have a little bit of glow, but I don't feel like quite so crazy. I didn't use any concealer today. I can tell you though, the BB cream, the e.l.f. BB cream, says SPF 20 sunscreen. Again, I use the shade Nude, and one of the things that I was struggling with was the glitter that had fallen down below on my first eye look that just kind of hung out for a while. And then, you know, if I had any kind of like fallout from, or, you know, extra of that shimmer that was traveling too far down, I took this on a Luxie brush and used it to kind of clean up, and I don't want to say conceal, but again, just a little bit of coverage underneath my eyes. As ladies of a certain age, sometimes we don't want to do anything too thick, too heavy underneath there, because man, it can really draw attention to it and really look creepy and just not good. Especially if, you know, you've got a mask on and all you can see is the eyes, or if you're wearing glasses, reading glasses, that type of thing, it can really draw attention to it. I use this BB cream and I'm obsessed now. Almost on par. I'm gonna have to use it a few more times, but I'm gonna say that this might even bump that e.l.f. foundation serum. It was that good. I'm shocked at how good it was, actually. I don't know what to tell you guys about the whole Sigma thing. I've got 2 other Sigma palettes that I'm gonna have to try to see how I feel about it. I don't have an official opinion yet, just based on this one use, 3 different looks with the Sigma Untamed palette. Did I need it in my collection? I think I impulse purchased it without really thinking about it too much, just because it was a new release and I did not have anything from Sigma. I don't recommend that. I recommend you making actually good, educated decisions. This gave me enough to play with, obviously, to do 3 different looks. And you know what? If this is something that you're going to use as a seasonal palette, this might be okay. I feel like it doesn't have enough oranges to be like a true fall palette. I'm not upset with the palette. The packaging's kind of fun. I don't know. I don't know if that helps you guys at all. This is where, if you're new here, hi, I'm Shelly, you can subscribe if you'd like. If you're interested in chit-chatting about makeup from a lady of a certain age who's not a makeup artist, please ring the bell and you'll get notified when I upload Monday, Wednesday, Friday, usually 3 p.m. Pacific time. Occasionally I throw in an extra video. How do you feel about the Sigma products? Everybody loves and raves Sigma brushes, right? That's like industry standard. But what about the palettes? Am I off the mark on this? Do I need to give this a second, third, fourth chance to fall in love with the mattes? Or do you guys experience the same things? And does that affect it? Like, fallout for some people really turns them off on a palette. Sometimes fallout on a palette is like, yeah, just no big deal. It just means that's the way the palette's formulated. I'm not worried about it. There were a couple shades in there that really surprised me that I was like, oh, okay, this is good. This eye look, I love this eye look. This eye look screams Juvia's Place to me. I mean, the gold in here actually kind of gave me a little Natasha Denona vibe. What do you think about these other 2? Have you guys played with either of these other 2 Sigma palettes, the Enchanted or the Corte Rosa? I am excited about the Corte Rosa. I bought the whole collection, so I'm gonna have to play with that a little bit. I hope you're doing really well, and I hope as we get into fall, things kind of feel like we're more in control. Enjoy the rest of your warm weather until fall hits. My heart does go out for the people that have been in the path of some hurricanes. There's been some storms out there on the day that I'm filming this. We're watching storms down in the Gulf area. Hey you guys, that's it. I'm gonna get out of your hair. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my afternoon. I hope you do the same, and until my next video, bye for now.